Winning, it's not really about luck, is it? Or just raw talent. It's actually about a very specific way of thinking. It all comes down to how you train your brain.
I mean, have you ever looked at someone and just wondered, how do they do it? How do some people just seem to win at everything, while the rest of us, well, we struggle? The answer isn't some crazy secret. It's actually all about the mental habits they build every single day.
Okay, so here's the core idea, the whole foundation of this. Your thinking. That directly leads to your actions. And those actions, well, they create your results. It's this super simple but incredibly powerful chain reaction that starts right inside your own head.
So, we're going to break this all down into 3 parts. First, we'll rethink what winning even is. Then we'll get into a real, practical action plan. And finally, we'll talk about how to build a kind of growth engine for yourself.
All right, let's dive into part 1, mastering your internal game. Because before you see any success on the outside, the real battle, the real work, starts with the thoughts and beliefs you have on the inside.
So, the very first step, getting a handle on that inner voice. And look, we all have it, right? That little nagging voice in the back of your head that whispers, I can't do this. Winners aren't some special breed who don't have this voice. Nope, they've just gotten really good at challenging it and replacing it. They make a conscious choice to shift from I can't to I will find a way.
And this isn't just some positive thinking fluff. It works because your brain is incredibly adaptable. Scientists call it neuroplasticity. Think of it like this. If you keep feeding your brain doubt, it's going to produce fear. That's its output. But if you consistently feed it confidence, it starts producing courage and action. The key thing to remember here is you're the one writing the code. You're the programmer.
Okay, on to part 2, the winner's action plan. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's how we turn that internal mindset into actual, real-world progress.
Think about it. When things go wrong, what's our first reaction? For so many of us, it's this question. And it's a totally passive question, right? It kind of frames you as a victim. It just drains your energy and keeps you stuck, staring at the problem.
But winners, they make a pivot. They completely change the question. Asking, what can I learn from this? That's active. It's all about moving forward. It completely reframes any setback into an opportunity, and it keeps your brain switched on in that productive problem-solving mode. All right, let's talk about a really powerful habit, discipline. Here's the thing winners know. Motivation is awesome, but it's flaky. It comes and goes. Discipline, that's what keeps you moving forward when the motivation fades. And it's just like a muscle. The more you use it, the more you practice that focus and self-control, the stronger it gets.
And you build it with these tiny daily actions. It's choosing to read a chapter instead of just scrolling through your phone. It's doing the reps when you'd much rather be resting. It's all about doing the work, especially on the days you don't feel like it. These little choices, they stack up. They compound over time and build a truly unstoppable mindset.
Here's another huge tool in the winner's toolkit: visualization. And no, this is not just wishful thinking. The absolute greatest champions are religious about this. They don't just hope they win, they mentally rehearse it over and over. They see themselves making that game-winning shot. They feel themselves crossing that finish line. They imagine lifting that trophy they've already won in their minds 1,000 times before the actual event.
So how does that actually work? Well, when you visualize an outcome with that much clarity, you're basically programming your brain's filter. It starts to see that future as not just possible, but probable. And then it starts actively searching for the opportunities to make it a reality, while at the same time, it starts to ignore all the excuses. Okay, last part. Part 3, creating a growth engine. This is all about building a system around you that just reinforces and speeds up all these positive habits we've been talking about.
Your brain is kind of like a sponge. It just soaks up the energy of whatever or whoever is around you. So if you're constantly surrounded by negativity, by doubt, by fear, well, that's what your brain is going to learn. But if you make a conscious choice to put yourself in a growth environment, one that's buzzing with ideas and progress, your own mindset is just naturally going to expand to match it.
And this gets to the very heart of what we call a growth mindset. Winners just don't believe that their skills are set in stone. They operate from this deep belief that any skill can be improved, and this is the big one, that every single mistake isn't the end of the world. It's just a data point. It's a lesson in disguise. This is such a powerful reframe. Just think about it. When you stop looking at failure as some big judgment on who you are and you start seeing it as simple feedback, it loses all its scary power. It just becomes information. And that takes away the fear of trying, and it unlocks the courage you need to go after bigger things.
So, as we start to wrap this up, the big thing to remember is that this isn't some magic switch you flip overnight. Training your brain to think like a winner, it's a process. It happens because of all the hundreds of little conscious choices you make day in and day out. Honestly, if there's just one thing you take away today, let it be this right here. Every single day, you're faced with these choices. Are you going to choose belief over doubt, action over excuses, and discipline over comfort?
And when you start making those choices consistently, you realize something pretty profound. The real win, it's not actually the trophy or the promotion or whatever goal you were chasing. The real win is the person you become in the process. Stronger, more resilient, more capable.
So the final question I want to leave you with isn't just, what do you want to achieve? It's much deeper than that. With every single choice you make, every thought you allow in your head, who are you becoming?